a session which, so welcome everyone. Thank you once again for logging in today. And this program, as we call it as Kickstart Your Export Business, Your Roadmap to Go Global, we are starting today. And thank you so much to all of you who have come here. This is a very curated event. We are not, we don't really do these sessions with hundreds of people. We just want that few people come in, they get value, and see how from the session which we will take, you can get some value in taking your export journey ahead. So with this, I would like to start sharing my presentation, and would like to start talking about, Sandeep, confirm if you can see my presentation.
Yeah, absolutely, I can see it.
All right, wonderful. So let's get ahead and talk about what it means to kickstart your export journey, export business, and your roadmap to go global. Of course, a session which is being taken by Sandeep, Kaushik, and Gagan, Kapoor, which is me. And it is indeed my pleasure to first introduce Sandeep, who is a very dear friend for decades, export growth consultant by profession. As you can see, we together founded Winning Mantra, and along with that, Sandeep has also been a publisher he's a CEO of Macau Books and Tech Alice, which is a company into IT outsourcing. And along with that, he has, look at this, 23 years of exports experience. He has been exporting to 98 countries already. So he comes with tons of experience around exports. He has exhibited in 32 countries, and he is a United Nations Empaneled Consultant. Along with that, he spent 8 years in training domain and already has made a difference to 18,400 aspiring exporters. And travel, networking, and building relationships is his passion. Sandeep, do tell us why and how you really thought that you should get to teach people on exports.
Thank you so much, Gagan, first of all, for the introduction, and welcome everyone to this session. Yes, actually, I started this 23 years ago, and at that time, there were absolute no one to guide me. There were no trainers. There were a few courses by the government which will tell you about the legal requirements or the certification you need. But what you really require is the practical knowledge. And whatever I learned the last 23 years is by traveling, by spending a lot of money, exhibiting. In the last almost 5 years, we started using technology and tools and found that there's a lot of technology usage which can save you a lot of money and are very impactful to grow your export business. And almost 3 years back, me and Gagan thought that we should give it back to the society, give it back to the MSMEs, and make them, make them enable to really reach out to the companies across the world in a very systematic way. And that is how we started Winning Mantra. And we're doing pretty happy with the progress. We've touched a lot of people. And the good thing is that the people who are working with us in our trainings and consulting, the success rate is very, very high. So we are very happy with that. And we're going to share more about that later. I'd like to introduce my friend and co-founder of Winning Mantra, Gagan Kapoor. He's a marketing consultant par excellence, very, very, kind of innovative stuff which is doing. He's co-founder along with me and founder of a company called Go for Growth Marketing Consulting. He has 22 years of marketing experience, both domestic as well as international. He's worked with 340 plus companies, both SMEs, MSMEs, and also big corporates. So he's worked with a lot of corporates as well. United Nations Registered Consultant, certified trainer, and has trained more than 48,000 people in the last 8 years. I mean, with me, he's touched around 18,400. But other than that, he is actually a national trainer with BNI and has touched a lot of people in the BNI world as well. Space science and reading are his passion. If you don't find him training or consulting, you'll find him behind a book. Still, with such a tight schedule, he able to read 3 books. Yes, 3 books a month. I am still to cover one. But welcome, Gagan, and looking forward.
Thank you so much, Sandeep, for the lovely introduction. And yes, indeed, it is my personal motive, personal mantra to make sure that the people whom I am connecting with I'm able to help them differentiate their business and stand out of the competition. And with this, I want to talk about the vision of Winning Mantra, because we've seen that India is seen in many ways, on the positive as well as the negative ways, when it comes to really exporting, right? So, and we really want each and every person who starts exporting from here needs to have that India shining image. And that is why we decided that we are going to keep our vision as changing the way India sells overseas. And we have been trying to do that over the past 3 years. And we have made a mission of touching the lives of 100,000 entrepreneurs by 1st of October 2025. And yes, we are well on our way. We've already covered more than 30,000 people. And we intend to impact as many people as we can. Now, if I talk about our offerings in totality, Winning Mantra does 4 things in total. We do these 2-hour knowledge session for exporters and budding exporters. This program, which you can see, kickstart your export business. This is the one session you are in. Then we do the trainings. We do 6-week training programs, which is called Export Growth and More. And this session is currently being run online. We are currently in our 18th batch of this training. Then we do individual consulting and hand holding, whereby a step-by-step approach to grow exports is actually taken care. And we get attached to a company and help them take their export vertical forward. And then for startups, we also do group consulting, whereby we work in groups of 4 companies, people who cannot afford the individual consulting and a one-to-one consulting program, but still would want to get an advice from us and a handhold from us. We do that. So these are 4 of our offerings which we are currently doing. And now moving on to the topic of today. And we've already known what all kind of businesses you are in. So we have got some idea. So I wish to now talk about 6 or 7 things which we will be covering today, by the way. Okay. First of all, we will talk about why it is important and very critical to define your product, because many of us are not yet clear about our product. So we will talk about how do you really define a product which you need to export. Number 2, we will talk about shortlisting focus countries based on your product. Now that you've decided on the product, how do you really shortlist these countries? Where and which place I need to focus first, depending upon the market dynamics. After that, we will talk about how do you get branding and market ready. Okay, that's very, very critical, because you should not ideally pitch before you are market ready. Then we will say, okay, now that we are market ready, how do you really find buyers in these places, right? What is prospecting? How do you define target segments? We will talk about that. After that, we'll talk about how do you really generate the leads coming from various locations? What are the channels of marketing which you will follow to go forward with it? Then going forward, we will also talk about lead conversion. Once you have received the leads, how do you convert them into sales, and what are the various sales strategies? And along with that, the 7th method and the 7th important step is, once you've got the sales, your product is ready, your shipment is ready, what kind of shipping document, shipping terms, as well as what are the methods of safe payment. In fact, these are also the 7 top challenges for most of the exporters. So we are going to be talking specifically about these. And to talk about the first step, which is how do you really define your products, I would now like to go to Sandeep to talk about it. Over to you, Sandeep.
Thank you so much, Gagan. And yeah, so a lot of time we find that people who come and are eager to start export business, some of them have products, some of them even don't have product. They want to do merchant export. So we have this session is for everyone. If you're exporting, not exporting, you have a product, you don't have a product. So we'll start with defining your product. So what we do with that, if you're an exporter, you already know what you're exporting, you know your product. If you're a manufacturer of some product, of course, you want to look at what kind of potential it has, and based on that, you will think of exporting. However, if you're a merchant exporter or a new merchant exporter, we help you check product, especially available uh, into nearby areas geographically, because it's always good to have the supplier near to you. It's not difficult to do it within India, but it's always good to have someone near the vicinity. Check export potential of those products, like whatever products are available, check the export potential. And if it is good, it's absolutely great. You can go for that. And the other way is look at the most exported products from India and find and search the supplier. So it's two ways. So whatever way comes great to you, you can try that out. And in our masterclass, we give you tools to find out exactly the export potential of these products. Now, once you've shortlisted that, the product, it's very important to find out the HSN code. This is a harmonized system which is basically given to every product which is imported or exported, every product. So whatever product gets imported and exported, it will have a HSN code. In India, we have 8-digit codes. However, the first 6 digits are common across the globe. So whatever product you are doing, like you're doing red chilies, you're doing turmeric powder. So whatever product you're doing, there's a HSN code associated to it. And the first 6 digits are got to be common across the world. Overall, the whole products are divided into 99 unique groups. And these 99 unique groups, 97 are available for general trading for people like us. And the last 2 ones are commodities which are exported by the government only. Now, I would recommend you, if you have the product in mind, if you already know what you want to sell, go to indiantradeportal.in and try to find out the exact HSN code, because we are going to do a lot of study based on HSN codes. A lot of tools take HSN code as a unique identity and then do the research for you, which will help you in taking a lot of decisions. So getting the HSN code right is very important. Sometimes you find a direct HSN code. Sometimes your product falls into a group of HSN codes, but you need to be in the right group. Now, once the HSN codes are finalized, you need to look at the profit margins. Now, in general, the profit margins for commodities, when you're talking about grains, you're talking about chakki atta, maida, or in fact, a lot of spices in bulk, the commodities are normally not getting more margin than 5 to 7%, but the requirements are huge. There's a huge flow of business happening across, and at this time, because of the Russia and the war happening there, the demand across the world is very, very high, because both these countries were supplying a lot of stuff across Europe. Whenever it's bulk quantities for a normal product, the margins are not more than 10 to 20%. But when you are focusing on boutique buyers and with some keywords like organic and all this stuff, the margins are very high. So it depends on where you want to focus. You want to focus on the bulk market. You want to focus on the boutique market. That's a call you need to take later. But there's a kind of profit margins we're looking at. And then there are rules and regulations. What all you need to start an export business for an absolute startup. You need a digital signature. Nowadays, very important. You got a GST and PAN number. Of course, your company registered. IEC code, which is an import-export code, which you can get from online code. AD code is an authorized distributor code, which you register. It's taken from the bank, your bank, and registered in the customs, so that whenever you do an export and the money comes to your bank, it automatically gets to a place called ICE Gate, which is a customs portal. Certifications needed for your business, licenses, and standards. We're going to talk more about this later. But basically, what you need is a company with GST, IC code, and PAN number. That's the very basic requirement. And then you need to look at the export market size. Like for your product or products you're shortlisted, what is the product market worldwide? How many dollars? $billion? How many $billion? Biggest exporting countries, which are the top 10 exporting countries. I'm going to show you how you can find that out. Who are the biggest importing countries? And also, what is the export potential from India to these countries? Like the biggest importing countries, what is the export potential? So you kind of understand this market size. And once you know that, then go ahead and start working in that field. And of course, there are a lot of export benefits from the government. Once you become a member of export promotion councils, you get something something called TROTAB, which is kind of a duty drawback. MEIS system, which again is their buyer-seller meet is organized by these promotion councils. There are a lot of international exhibitions which happens and people go together, and MSMEs also have some benefits, and there are multiple events happening across the world. So the government supports you in a lot of ways, and you're going to learn more about you. And specifically for your product, you can find out what are going to be the benefits. Now, firstly, you have shortlisted the product. All of you, most of you I have seen today already have very focused, clear in mind that this is going to be your product. But now, with your product, where do you want to focus? You want to focus the whole country, the whole world, or 220 plus countries, or you want to focus on countries where you can start your business faster? I believe the latter. So let's see with your product, with your HSN code, how can I shortlist focus countries for you where you can start your export business. Firstly, you need to understand global markets. First, you have to understand and know your HSN code, which you've already known by now. Now, once you know HSN code, let's take a small example. Take example of 61, which is articles of apparels and clothing accessories. You can similarly find your HSN code and do this exercise. Now, first thing I told you is look at the whole export market. So for this product, the export market, the worldwide export market is $237 billion. B for billion. $237 billion export market. Biggest exporter is China. Bangladesh is number one. Can you believe it's $21 billion? Followed by Vietnam, Germany, Italy, Turkey, India. India comes at number 7 with $8 billion. And as you must be aware, and maybe you're not, that India has clocked whooping $418 billion of export in the last financial year. And the government plan is to be believed, Indian government is eyeing for $1 trillion by 2030. So there's going to be a lot of focus on export industry, and it's an absolute great time to join this industry and grow your business. Now, for the shortlist country, I'm not interested in people who are exporting. I'm interested in people who are importing. So I use the same tool to find out the top importing countries. As you can see, the import for this article of apparel is $215 billion. Biggest importers are US, Germany, Japan, UK, France, Spain, Italy, and the list goes on. Now, to shortlist countries, and we would like to shortlist 10 countries for you. If you are someone who's in business for 3 to 5 years, then you can start from the top. But if you're someone who's starting, who's just kind of thinking of starting your business, I would strongly recommend leave the top 5. US, Germany, Japan, UK, France, leave them for now. Take the next 20. Why? Because these people have great demand. They're buying a lot, but there'll be a lot of competition also. So it is better initially to start with kind of, I would say, next tier countries where there'll be demand, but the competition will not be that much. So your chances of starting business is much more. So we take the next 20 countries, download the list, and then we work together to shortlist it to 10 countries, or for absolute startup, just 3 countries. So that we focus on these countries, create our strategies, start our business, get the money flowing, and then focus on the balance 7. And then again, similar way, we'll keep adding the countries and shortlisting the country. So first factor is who are the biggest importers. The second factor is the country credit rating. For all the countries you have shortlisted, the 20 countries, check out the credit rating on eximmitra.in. And you will find out the credit rating, whether it's safe to do business in that country or not. So if it is in A and B's, normally the credit rating will be A1, A1, B, B1, C, C1, D, D1, like that. So if it is A's and B's, it is safe to do business. However, if any of these countries in C's and D's, we would not like to do business now. We will do it later, and that too with 100% advance. The third factor, however, is the export potential of your product. Using the tools, you can find out from India to any of these countries like Belgium, France, Italy, or whatever names have come up for your product. You will find out what is the export potential, which essentially means what is the demand in that country, how much import is happening, and what is the balance, how much potential is there. And you can find out the worldwide potential. You can also find out the potential from India. So the countries where the potential is more, they are the ones where we would like to start working with. Also need to identify saturated or non-saturated market. Saturated market is a market where the demand and supply are almost met. So why to invest our energy there? We will remove those from the list if it is a saturated market. Then comes the trade agreement benefits. Now, what is a trade agreement and how does it benefit you as an exporter? A trade agreement is an agreement between countries. India, Australia, India, Germany, India, Asian countries, India, BRICS countries, India, SAARC countries, India, Japan, whatever. What happens is, like, when you have an agreement with that country, you become a preferred manufacturing partner or a preferred supplier, wherein that country would get import duty benefit. For example, India has an arrangement with Japan. So if Japan is buying seafood from India, it will only pay 5% import duty. However, if they buy the same thing from, say, Malaysia, they'll pay 16% duty. So if a country is saving 11% working with India, they would prefer to work with India. So in your list of 20 countries, if you find trade agreement from the site, indiantradeportal.in, there's a trade agreement with that country, and we are getting benefit, so they become in the top list for us. Because here, the import value is good, the potential is good, it's not saturated market, and we are getting import benefit. So if you see around, the 5 factors based on which you can decide and shortlist from 220 countries based on your product, get down to 10 or 3 countries. Very, very important to have a focused approach. And this is really important, because otherwise, if you keep thinking that why not the whole world, nothing will come to you. The focus has to be there. And now once you know this, it is very, very important for you. You'll say that, okay, I've shortlisted my products, I've shortlisted the countries, let me find buyers and start working on that. But before that, there is some preparation required for export business, which is about branding your company and getting marketing ready. There are certain things you need to be ready with, and to bring in more knowledge about that, I'm going to invite Gagan Kapoor, who's going to take us further and tell us how you can create a great brand and be marketing ready. Over to you, Gagan.
Thank you so much, Sandeep, for guiding us, telling us about how do we really go ahead and talk about and take the initial steps in finding our products and looking at buyers as a part of that, right? Now, let's talk about the next step in this whole process. And this is where we go, where we talk about the step 3 of branding and getting marketing ready. And when it comes to getting marketing ready, first thing I would like to talk about, which unfortunately a lot of us in India lag as of now, and that is importance of building a brand, right? So what are the first steps what you need to take to go forward with it? First of all, you need to have a stunning, authentic, new, and a very good logo which immediately builds your image. A logo and a good brand has a power of making you look much better and much good than what you usually are, what you really are. So why not implement it? After that, your company has to have its unique brand identity and brand look, which means the set of colors which you are going to be using as a brand. It always has to be a similar set of colors. You should make your presentations, cards, brochures in a specific style which are reflected all across. So a brand identity is created. And let me tell you, many people, many of us do not invest in looking good. What we call in Hindi is जो दिखता है वो अच्छा बिकता है, जो और अच्छा दिखता है वो और भी अच्छा बिकता है. So what we need to do is we need to look good. Put effort in looking good because your brand is going out in the market. When you go out to party, you dress well, right? And because you want a good image of yours. Similarly, now that your brand is going out, it needs to look good. So let's do that. And then create a definite color theme, a unique identity. All four things are very critical before you start marketing. That's the thing. Now that you've thought about a brand, you think that you are looking good, get it vetted by any of a consultant or a brand consultant or friends of yours, how your company looks like. After that, what you need to do, you need to start creating a lot of marketing content. So what kind of brandings, what kind of marketing branding you must have, right? First of all, you have to have a good, effective website. Very critical. Your website has to speak like you yourself are speaking. So if you do not really invest in your website and it gives very limited information like a brochure, what happens? People get a perception that you are not a very big company, first of all. And people also get a perception, literally, people have said this, it feels that as I am talking to a junior executive in the company if your website is not good, because they are the first thing people see, the website. But if your website is effective enough, you are going to make sure that you are probably interacting with the customer yourself even before the customer has come to you. Once you've created a good website, you also need to be ready with a corporate profile or a brochure, what we call it as. Now, this is different from the product catalog, which is a third in the category. Your company profile, which is our brochure, should talk about your business, your infrastructure, your USPs, your broad list of services and products, as well as your testimonials and certifications as such. This is what a brochure should have. But your product catalog should have a detailed list of your products. While a good brochure can be 12 to 16 pages, a product catalog can run into, based on the categories, 50 pages as well, depending on the kind of products you have. So they are two very different things, mind you, and you need to create both of them, right? After that, you also definitely need to invest in immediately. The moment you start thinking of a brand, get your social media pages blogged, your LinkedIn, your Facebook, your Instagram, Twitter, buy and take all those pages as well. And then whatever you're going to be presenting into all of these, it has to again look good, which means somebody said red chili, then it is red chili, then it has to look the most stunning, right? Whatever your product is, it has to look absolutely fabulous, because that is the only case, only when people will perceive you as one of the top class companies. After having thought about brand and the minimum, which are must-haves, let's talk about some of the advanced level things. I'm not really suggesting that people who are starting up should also invest in this, but once you have gone a little ahead, you must have a nice corporate video. That's number one. And of course, you should then also start investing in paid marketing, which means you have a budget for doing Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, or Google ads. Now, I'm going to be speaking about it separately in just a while, but you must look at this as a constant method of lead generation. So these are the must-haves as well as the advanced level. After having done this, you need, now that your brand is ready, now that your collaterals are ready, right? Let's clearly define our target segments. Whom are we reaching out to? Now, defining all possible target segments for the products is very, very critical. Most of the people, most of the marketers, they do a very big mistake. They sell and try to sell, rather, they cannot, but they try to sell everything to everyone. Well, that is not possible. You know that to a certain set of segment, you will be able to project and put forth in front of them a very a limited thing, right? So you need to clearly demarcate these buckets of target customers and reach out to them for selected products. Now, what are these buckets and what are these product differentiations can be, right? So the target segments can be defined on B2B, whether you are doing a business to business product or you're doing business to consumer. Number two, it can also be sometimes a customer who is very price sensitive. The discussion, the whole plan, the way you communicate to them is very different, and premium is altogether different. And then some people look at bulk quantities, which is commodity purchase, like Sandeep was talking about with the profit margins. And then some people look at boutique quantities, limited quantities, but premium, right? And last but not the least, target segments are also these days, which is more prevalent, divided basis. You are talking about a conventional product or conventional way of making a product, and the new age sustainable, recyclable products with best of the materials. Again, it matters what kind of product you're doing, and the costs vary. In fact, a good level of margin and planning in the new age way of selling is the sustainability and recyclability. So if you can bring sustainability in your methods, and it also adheres to some of the goals of United Nations with regards to sustainability, which is what is critical, right? So look at your target markets very, very clearly. And now you've defined your target markets, you have defined your product. What are we going to say in it? Which means you need to define create a unique message. Now, what happens in general scenario is most of the people, unfortunately, are in a thing called Me Too business. What do you mean by Me Too business? We are so influenced by our competitors. How we decide the price? Because our competitors keep the same. How we decide on markets to sell? Our competitors do the same. How did you act all decided the product? Because our competitors are selling the similar kind of product. So much we are influenced by the competitors that we forget that we are unique and we are different. And so many of us, if asked, what is your USP or unique selling proposition? They say, I have the best quality, best price, best range, and best timely delivery, right? Well, if every single person is saying the same thing, how do you think you are going to differentiate yourself? So what you need to do is to find something unique, right? I met somebody the other day who was into lentils, dale, right? And he said that we have this advanced machinery with which we are packing vacuum sealed lentils. Clearly a differentiator from all the other lentils which are packed and we get, right? It could make a difference. That is what we need to look at. That is how we need to innovate, right? You need to find what makes your customers keep coming back to you. And if you dare to be different, you will see people are going to look at you in a very different way, and hence will give you business, right? Now, after you have decided and created a unique message, one very critical factor is about the focus on one brand. Now, what happens is that a lot of people I've seen from India, you are selling agro products. Like just giving you an example, okay? Nothing related to people in here. You are selling an agro product, and suddenly you get an inquiry from somebody of automobile product, okay? Now, what people do, they get tempted and they said, okay, I was selling agro, I've got an offer for automobile, let's start doing automobile. You know, the moment you do that, and that too in a similar same company, you completely dilute your product offering, which means the customer doesn't seem to that you are sees that you are a specialist anymore, right? If you focus too broadly, you dilute your message. In any market, Indian or international, jack of all trades and masters of none, unfortunately, doesn't work. Even if you are in trading, try to see if you can be in a single industry. If you're doing agro, do agro-based trading. If you're doing automobile, do automobile trading. Doesn't matter, but keep focused. One brand, one message, one set of customers who only sees your brand selling those kind of products and not many. Appear to be specialists and you will see the difference starts appearing. Now, last but not the least, when we talk about marketing and we talk about focusing on one brand, when you communicate, I have seen a lot of people, thousands of emails are being sent, so many calls are being made, but you don't get any response. Those emails get unanswered. Why? Because those emails have not got anything which is related, which is the benefit of the customer. So what we need to do, our approach should always be benefit focus and rather than product focus. What I practically mean is that if you are sending an email to a customer or to prospect, your email should not say introducing Gagan Kapoor or introducing winning mantra. No, your email need to say, how can you build exports to the next level, or how can you increase 20% of sales through exports? The moment you talk about the customer's benefit, people start noting. People notice because it is about them, right? Always think about the customers first. What do they need? How will it benefit them? And create your entire communication focused on their perspective rather than being too self-focused, right? These are some of the critical and the basic laws of marketing, which as an exporter, you need to follow. And that starts making all the difference, I would say. And that is what many of our participants in the past have found, right? So now that you're market ready and you have created all the elements, the next part which comes is how do you really find buyers, and how do you really prospect? To talk about how do you really find buyers, many of you said, I saw a question in the chat box, how do you really find buyers and how do you really prospect? I would now like to request Sandeep Kaushik to please take over. Over to you, Sandeep.
Thank you, Gagan. So by now you're very clear in terms of your product. You shortlisted the country. You understood that you have to create a brand and good communication. You're ready with your website, your profile, and everything. But now is the important thing. You have to find buyers, do the prospecting, and also be very clear about the target segments or focus place. So there are a lot of ways of finding buyers. There are actually 22 different methods of finding buyers. And of course, we give you free tools, masterclass to do that. But today, because we have very little time, I'm going to talk about 7 methods, which is data analysis, e-commerce websites, trade associations, international exhibitions, keyword search, social media, and a hashtag method. So these are the 7 methods we're going to talk about. And the data mining which you do from this is very effective. It's a very great connection because you dissect the country into smaller cities and find this data. Let's see what are these methods. Firstly, we use the HSN code, we use the country we have shortlisted, and we find the data using certain tools. Now, these are the tools which we give in a masterclass, where you can just give the country name, your product HSN code, and you'll find the list. The list will have all the details. But what you need from whatever source you get data, what you need is 3 connection points. The first connection point is going to be email ID. The second connection point is going to be the LinkedIn profile of the contact person. And of course, the third one is going to be the phone number. So these are the 3 parameters which you require from a company. So whenever you're searching data, whatever way you're searching data, you need to get this data into your database. The second method is about finding the top 10 e-commerce countries. In case your product is selling into e-commerce website, this is the method for you. In case you're not selling, your product is like engineering products or something which is more in terms of high technology, you're not selling on e-commerce website, then of course, this method is not good. But if it is selling like something like a lifestyle product or a handicraft product, just find out in every country, shortlisted country, go to that country, find out the top 10 e-commerce website. Once you get the website name, open the website, search for your product. And when you search for a product, you will get multiple options. So a lot of suppliers, you get the name of the supplier. Now, supplier are of three types. People from India who are supplying, of course, they are your competitors. You don't need their data. There are online distributors in that country. They definitely can be your prospect. And thirdly, the brand in that country, which is selling with their brand name, they can be a prospective client. So you get the name there, and you use Google, and also you use LinkedIn to find out the relevant details. The next method is association, trade associations. For every trade, there are associations across the world. And association always have the list of its members. Now, whether they're buyers, manufacturers, but the whole industry is together. So some of them are very open and they share the list with everyone on the website. But some of them don't. In that case, if you get it open, get the data, it's a gold mine. If you don't get it, connect with the 4 or 5 people, build a relationship, and then you can get that data. And it is a very, very, very good data of buyers. And then something which a lot of people have been doing, the traditional exhibitors used to only do physical exhibitions, 3, 4 exhibitions in a year. And that's where you generate prospects, leads, business, everything was coming from them. The last 2 years, things got changed. Now, of course, the physical fairs have started again. They are very expensive. One fair, if you're exhibiting, costs to 8 to 10 lakh rupees. So the virtual fairs are there. They are effective. There are virtual meetings happening. There are virtual buyer-seller meetings happening, which are effective, which are very cost-effective also. But you need to make sure that the organizer are people who have experience of organizing the physical fairs. Why? Because it is not difficult to organize a fair. Even you can organize a fair, but it's difficult to get the buyers in the fair. So people who are doing this for long will be able to find the buyers. So, nutshell, physical and virtual fairs are a great, great place to find prospective buyers for your business. Google, of course, is a great repository of any data. And of course, buyers' data is no big deal. The only thing I want to tell you here is that divide the whole country into smaller cities, search for the cities, and instead of searching, like for example, importer of granite in Belgium, you will say list of importers of granite in Belgium, or rather Belgium, you do some city. With this, you will be able to find and dissect the whole country, find out players even in the smaller cities, just not the metros, just know the bigger players. So you got to have all kind of people into this. And yes, one more thing, that don't just look at first or second pages, go up to at least 5 to 7 pages, because there's a lot of data. For right now, the first page is majorly ads. So to find out good data, you need to go down to this as well. Now, digital marketing has become a great, great, great source of focused target marketing, not only to build up your brand, but also to generate amazing leads for your business, for a specific country, for a specific city. You can do your marketing, you can target market, you can do retarget market and get these leads. Hashtag method is the last method we're going to talk about today, where you put in the hashtag which are used for your product, like in this case, leather wallets. As you can see, 136,000 posts. There'll be 3 kinds of posts: people who are putting it personally, or there are influencers who are doing, they're a good connect for you. And thirdly, the companies are putting up their products for selling. The companies who are putting up the products for selling are your possible buyers. So this is how you really connect with them and find out data using these 7 methods. And as I said, in the masterclass, we give you 22 different ways of finding this data. And it's a lot more effective than what you get by buying data from various sources. We're going to talk about that later. So now that you have done this and maybe the other methods you learn, you are able to find out buyers in those shortlisted countries. Now that you have buyers, and we need to really talk about the prospecting part now. The buyers are there. But now what is prospecting? Prospecting is the process of searching for potential customer in order to develop your new business. Once you have the data, you need to do prospecting. And as you see, there are two kinds of prospecting. One is a traditional method, other is a modern method. When you talk about modern method, it's email marketing, LinkedIn marketing, social media marketing, which Gagan is going to talk about now very soon, the next session. Traditional market is like networking events, the customer referrals, cold calling, print media, and door-to-door sales. So you do prospecting of clients from the data you have got. So whatever data you have received, you do the further prospecting, connect with them through email, through LinkedIn, through social media, and also, of course, cold calling in the last. And then you also have to have very clearly like what kind of prospects you're looking at, whether it's for B2B business or B2C business or a hybrid model. Whether they are importers, they're wholesaler or distributors, they're online distributors, chain stores, retailer or boutiques, the brands or B2B or B2C platforms. So you need to be very clear whom you are targeting. And based on that, you collect the data and you do the prospecting. So right now, what we have done is like find out the buyers and of course, learned about what are the various ways of prospecting. And now, once we have the data, we are going to talk about how you can generate leads for exports. So the prospects you got, how to convert those prospects into lead. For that, I'm going to invite Gagan to take it away.
Thank you, Sandeep, to talk about the way we are actually going to find buyers. And now let's talk about the export lead generation. What are the methods of lead generation? Now, do you know that there are top 6 relevant lead generation methods which SMEs can do, can prefer, and can really get business from? I'm not really talking, when I say SMEs, I'm not really talking about costlier methods. But do you know, most exporters use only 2. And then they say we are not getting enough leads to go ahead and do business. How will you if you do not really do that? So what are these 6 methods? Let's first understand that. And then let's get to know about each one of them a little so that you know what are the first steps you need to take. Okay. So the first 6 methods which an SME should use are these. Number 1, email marketing. Exporters, very critical for you. Then social media marketing, we all know, I'm going to be talking about each one of them. Content marketing, pay-per-click, referral marketing, and event and exhibition marketing. These are the top 6 methods. So let's get to know about some of them and see how we can really make a difference out of these. First of all, I'm going to be talking about social media. Very, very critical part of any business, what Sandeep was really talking about initially. So what all and where all you should have your channels open up and your presence as a company. Number 1, LinkedIn. If you're talking about international, if you're talking about B2B, LinkedIn is the must. So LinkedIn, your company business page, that's number 1, as well as your own personal profile is very, very important to have. That's something which we need to look at. That's number 1. Number 2, you must have your Facebook business plus personal pages as well. And then you already, I'm sure there are 2.6 billion people on Facebook already. I'm sure you are all also there. What you need to do is from your page, you need to invite your friends onto the business pages and then get more likes to it. Along with that, Instagram, you must have your personal profile, but yes, business profile, Instagram is also critical. Any business, any company, any individual, if they need to look at you, they will look at these 3 places and they will decide your presence based on this. After that, you all also must have Google business profile through which anybody can find you on Google, right? You must own it because it can later on be used for your Google search marketing ads as well. And Google and people can actually give you reviews on Google business profile. Most of the people actually see reviews on your Google business profile. You cannot afford to not have it, right? And what you need to do, you need to regularly post, which means consistency in posting. you need to also, and all of these places, LinkedIn as well as Facebook, Instagram doesn't have groups, LinkedIn as well as Facebook, you must engage in posting your posts, relevant posts, value posts in the groups, specific groups, which are your industry specific groups where your target customers are present, right? These are the bare minimum each one should do with regards to social media. And then, of course, there is something for the advanced people as well. YouTube is definitely advanced manner where you need to create a set of videos. And along with that, you need to also plan that you are YouTube, by the way, is the second largest search engine in the world these days behind Google search engine. So you must have your presence also there. And then what you need to do, you need to bring consistency in the posts, which practically means that you are posting at regular intervals, which means if it is 3 days, let it be 3 days, that's okay. But it cannot be you've posted it now and the next post you will post 3 months later. That is not good for business. Be consistent, even if it is one post a week. So that's social media for you. But the next level and the advanced level from social media is actually what we call as performance marketing. And what do you think? And what is, by the way, the performance marketing? Let's talk about that. I am sorry, I have a little glitch which I need to sort. Okay, yes. So performance marketing is something which is very, very critical, which means which can actually get you ads, leads through the ads. How do you run the ads? You run the ads on Facebook and Instagram by searching, by putting an audience and put an ad there. It gets you leads in the Facebook and Instagram business page, and you can actually call them. Critical for them is if you are getting leads from here, your follow-up time is 24 hours. After that, leads usually forget that they even filled the form, right? So critical for you to react on that, act on that quickly, not react, but act, right? The second bit is search engine marketing, what we call as pay-per-click marketing, PPC, okay? What happens is you see whenever you type something on Google, on top it shows a set of results which is said ad AD written next to it. Those are the people who have bid on the keywords and their ads are appearing even above the search results. So you have a chance to get up there. But what happens when somebody click this? When somebody click this ad, they go to your main business website. Practically for a Google search ad, which is pay-per-click ad, your website has to be absolutely stunning and critical, which is ready to capture the leads. And then you also can plan some innovative lead generation tools on LinkedIn. Okay, I want to talk about some of the tools which can be used on LinkedIn as well. Lucia is one such tool which can be used on LinkedIn. It gives you a set of options to connect and to see the email IDs and phone numbers of a set of people, limited set of people based on your plan. Sales Navigator is also such tool which can help you generate leads, quite a lot of leads. And the last one is, of course, LinkedIn Premium. As a LinkedIn Premium member, you have an option, of course, to look at certain set of leads, to send dedicated messages to certain people. Again, depending upon your plan, you get certain credits, right? So advanced level performance marketing, this can get you leads. LinkedIn advertisements, I have not really said as of now, because for SMEs, it turns out to be a little too costly, right? But Facebook ads and search engine marketing, with a little budget, you can definitely plan that. And I would recommend do that, please. Next up, email marketing, one of the most critical aspects for any business, for exporters specifically. And it is even very critical to make this process very, very effective. First of all, the most important part in email marketing is the delivery of the email itself. How are you going to really reach the set of people? The question is whether your email will land up in their inbox or not. For that, you can use a set of tools. Now, what are these tools? Some of these tools are MailChimp. That's the most famous, by the way. Okay. And then the second one is Zoho Campaigns. Then the third one which you can use is Constant Contact. Okay. Now, these tools can help you actually in a couple of ways. one email created can send out a mail to thousands and tens of thousands of people in 1 second. Literally, the mail goes to each and every one. That's number one. Second, you also get email analytics from these tools, which practically means how many people opened your email, how many people clicked a specific link in your email. Every single data is available to you from that intelligence, which practically means you can plan your next strategy based on your open rates and your response rates. But open is still doable. When I mean that, you can get an idea on how to do that. But what you need to do is you need to make your emails really relevant for people to understand. Remember the thing which I mentioned, what's in it for me, right? Think about your customer. First of all, your effort is to deliver your email, which means use a tool. Do not use spam words. Do not put BCC of hundreds of emails in your Google Mail, Gmail. Let me tell you, Google will block you. Your server will be blocked if you do that. Good idea is to use these tools, and many of them for 2000 contact, they are free. So you don't really need to spend money initially, and you can test your hands on them. For second thing, delivery is one. Make them open your email. Why will they make that open? For that, a killer subject line is very, very critical. If your subject line is enticing enough, which prompts them to open that, I think there is something in there I need to see, that is going to make a difference. So think how you can generate the interest just by this subject line, because your entire success of the email depends on that open rate. And once they have opened, the task is still not done. You need to make sure you need to let them, you have to make them respond, which practically means that the content should be relevant enough. That's number one. It should be short and crisp, and the clear action points should be visible to them. In a way, a good email is, if I have to skim through that email, which means we see speed read. If I have to speed read that email, I should be able to get the gist in just 3 seconds rather than reading an email. That is an ideal email, and that is one which will get you a prompt. What are the mistakes to avoid an email? Again, you cannot have your emails too long. Useless subjects, all about you are some of the things which are clear. No, and of course, some of the spammy words and all that, which should not be used. So that's about email marketing. And then after email marketing, Sandeep already mentioned about it, participating in exhibitions and trade shows. By the way, this is the smartest tool for the exporters, right? What you can do is you can first of all define there are, by the way, tools to find exhibitions globally, right? There is one tool which we call it as 10times.com. Look at this tool, and there's another one which we call it as eventseye.com. Look at these two tools, type in your keyword, type in the country of origin, and you will find a trade show in that country. That is how effective these tools are. You can do a lot of research and define and agree to participate. Now, many of you may think that, you know what, it is very costly to participate in these trade shows. I cannot do that. Lakhs of amount will be spent on my pocket. How do I do it being an SME? Well, there is a solution to it, because that is where the government comes in really handy. Okay. Now, government provide a set of benefits which are placed under MDA, Market Development Assistance, which means it subsidizes your stall cost, travel cost, your allowances, your tickets, every possible thing, subsidizes to up to about 5 to 7 lakhs on each trip. That is possible. So your trip cost remains literally to 20% at times of the total cost. How you can avail these benefits? You have to be a member of Ministry of MSME. So you have to be an MSME member, number one. And second, registered under MSME. And you should also be a member of your Export Promotion Council. So if it is garments, Apparel Export Promotion Council. If it is chilies, then APIDA or any food council, Export Promotion Council, that is where you should be. And they will tell you what shows they are participating and how can you get benefits. Then, apart from this, when you are part of these associations, especially one association which stands out in the activity and the action, and that association is FIEO, FIEO. okay, Federation of Indian Exporters Organization. Now, this is open to all kinds of members, along with your other bodies. You can be a part of this, and being a part of these bodies doesn't cost much. What, 12,000 rupees a year? But it can get you tons of benefits, by the way, my friends. So, and these are the organizations who keep organizing these buyer-seller meets, buyer-seller events, online buyer-seller events. By sitting here, you can be meeting buyers globally. So while planning your shows, while planning your trade shows, you must look at global shows, but you also must look at some of the local shows in a specific country, which Sandeep has mentioned you should target. So all of these methods are the methods to get your leads: emails, social media, trade shows, exhibitions. You get leads from here, right? But once you get the leads, what do you do with them? Do you start talking to them straight away? My dear friends, no. You do not talk to them straight away. You first capture them. Capture them in a well-defined system. By the way, you will spend a lot of money in getting these leads, whether through trade shows, whether through performance marketing, right? So don't let a single lead spill through the cracks. My recommendation is use a lead capture tool, what we call it as a CRM tool, customer relationship management tool. Now, these tools, by the way, are very simple as an SME and not very costly, but you must capture them, right? I'm going to give you certain tools. Begin is one such tool, which is very, very helpful for the SMEs. Zoho has a bigger tool for SMEs again. And then it can be even used for bigger companies. HubSpot is another one, and Lead Squared is another one. These are 4 very important tools, but for beginners, Begin is the one which you can use. It is also from Zoho, by the way, and very simply tracks all the aspects of an SME, and very simple to use. Costs about 4,800 rupees a year, but very useful in capturing your leads. My recommendation, if I were to ask you 3 years later what lead you got today, you should be able to answer, and do not have to look at in tons of Excel sheets which have been created and God knows where they are lying. Cannot afford. Everything should be on cloud like this. So these are the methods of lead capturing, what you must use, what I mentioned about the various things. Now that you've received the leads, the next and the logical step is converting those leads into sales. So I would now request Sandeep again to talk about your lead conversion and the sales strategy. Over to you, Sandeep.
Thank you so much, Gagan. Leads are created. You have the leads, you have captured them into your CRMs. Now what? You have to really look at converting them into the sales, closing the sales. That is what we are doing. So before that, you need to really work on credibility building. Now, before you actually convert, people should know that why should they work from you? So you talked about communication, you talked about USP, but also you have to share success stories with them. You have to project yourself as an expert. So you have to write blogs and articles, ask some quiz on the social media, some intelligent participation in various groups where your buyers are there. The testimonials given by your clients, whether text or video, should be shared. You can create a monthly newsletter of your company and share with your clients as well as prospects. And of course, part of global and local shows. So this is how you create your credibility, and it's a gradual process. Your credibility will not be made in time. Trust takes time. The credibility takes time. Now, once the credibility is built, we need to find out, are you export sales ready? And what do I mean by that? We talked about marketing ready. Now we're talking about sales ready. For that, what you need to do is, first of all, create a nice website, already part of marketing, social media presence, already you are there, corporate profile and video, already we talked about in marketing. What we talk about in sales is product catalog, standard proposal, a cost and profit matrix, so that you can give any cost, any time with any variable, and keywords to enhance your sales. So first 3 parts are already covered by Gagan in the marketing part. We are talking about the next 4. Firstly, the product catalog should be a good quality picture. Dimensions should be mentioned, the volume, the weight, the net weight, the minimum order quantity of your product, and CBM, container load, how many products would be in container? Just to give you an example, this is one of the clients we are consulting, Baba Cups. Look at this product, it's 2.5 ounce single wall cup. Specification is very clearly written. You can see the top, the height, the bottom. Cup per box, per carton, the box is 2000. Box size is given. CBM per box is given. Box per container, which is 20 feet container, is given. Now, if your client gets this, it'll be faster for him to take the call. So you need to create a product catalog with all specific details so that it's easier for buyer. Then comes your proposal format. One is to just send a quotation of 2 pages. Other is to create a format which is talk about your company, your philosophy, your mission, about the team, about your infrastructure, about your certification, about your QC processes, the CSR activities you're doing, how you're giving back to the society, the payment terms, the shipping terms, the packing details, and the actual quote. So make it very focused, very simple, but make it a standard format. Any proposal you give, send in a standard format. It creates your brand image. They know that you know business. They know you know exports. Then it's cost profit matrix. There is a kind of a Excel sheet you can use, or you can create some kind of a dashboard where you have the raw material cost, you have the conversion cost, you have the packing cost, you have the pallet packing or normal packing, the transportation within India. And if there's a change in material, what is going to be the cost? Your profit margins, your thresholds, what is the minimum you can do? Maximum, of course, there's no limit. You have to have this matrix ready, because if you meet a client and if they ask you, okay, instead of this quality, if we take this quality, what would be the price? And you say, oh, I need to ask, that would be loss of opportunity. So be ready with this cost matrix. It's always good to be ready, because the less time you give them to think, the more conversion of sales will happen. Next is, of course, talk about offer bulk quantities. Just put it in their mind, like instead of buying 500, if you buy 1,000, 2,000, this will be the price. Sow the seed in the mind of the buyer that if he has the capacity of selling more, he will buy more to save money. Some special offer, special packaging solution, customized solution should always be ready with you. There are certain keywords which you can use to enhance your sales, which are biodegradable, organic, eco-friendly, natural ingredients, conserve energy, recyclable, environment-friendly, renewable, reusable, sustainable. If you can correlate any of these keywords with your business, for example, organic turmeric, sustainable supply chain, it will increase your chances of exporting quite a lot, and also you'll be able to get more margins. So be sales ready. And let's just see what all we cover in our masterclass. I mean, other than what we talked today, we cover how you can create country-wise sales funnel, how you can do detailed prospecting, the speed and quality of communication. Communication is the key to any business. You learn negotiation skills and you learn closing skills in the masterclass. So this is about being sales ready, so that when it comes to the table, you're ready with negotiation skills, closing skills, prospecting, and all kind of permutation and combination for giving the quotation. And last thing we're going to talk about is shipping documents and safe payments. Safe payments are the most important part for any business, and specifically for the export business, it is very, very important. Okay, so let's talk about the basic shipping documents you need. You need a commercial invoice with a two-party, consignee and a notified party. Consignee is your buyer. Notified party is either a logistic company or a logistic department of your company, or a bank. I'll tell you when we make to the bank. The packing list, where a detailed list is sent for the packing and how it is packed. And every carton you send is numbered so that customs can do random checking. They look at your packing list and say carton number 118 should have this product, whatever you have mentioned. So if they randomly found carton 118, they open that, match it with whatever is being told, and they do that random checking 2 or 3 times. If it is fine, you're good to go. Bill of lading. This is a document for which the shipping is done. After the shipment is done, the bill of lading. Without the bill of lading, your buyer will not be able to get the shipment. There are two types of bill of lading. One is a paper bill of lading, so you need to courier that paper, or a telex BL, which is an electronic BL, which you can send by email and he can get the consignment. And in case there is a trade benefit, like the trade, told you the trade agreement benefit, and you have to give a certificate called country of origin, which is like the product is manufactured in India. Because the benefit is given for manufacturing it. It's not that you bought from China, got it to India, then selling it to Japan. No, that is not something which is allowed. So these are the shipping documents you need. And then what is very important is to come safe international payment. And today I'm going to give you a method which is a two-tier method. Level 1, where we do due diligence of the buyer, and level 2, we choose the right payment terms. And it is very critical for you to understand this, because this is the most critical part of an export business. So due diligence, find out the country rating. Is it good to and safe to do business? Find out the buyer rating. Every company in the world, you can get the credit rating, the credit report by ECGC, which is a government organization from India, and Dun & Bradstreet, which is a big corporate which has great data. Just have to spend $2,000-3,000 and you will get complete chitta about that company. Then two references, ask for two references of the suppliers, check with them, how is it working business, check their website, whether the buyer has a website or not, what kind of email ID he is maintaining, what kind of social media presence he has. His email is normal Yahoo, Gmail, Hotmail, or a company email, Sandeep@winningmantra.in, Gagan@winningmantra.in, or is it sandeep.kaushik@gmail.com. Why I'm emphasizing on that? Because it is a company, there's a structure, there's a presence. Of course, there are a lot of things you need to check to make sure that the buyer is genuine. Check on Google Maps or Google Earth the address, whatever address he has given to the company, check whether that address exists or not. And once you have done this and you're sure that the buyer is good, we go out and basically work on the payment terms. Now, what are the various payment terms in export business? Number one, advance payment, like China does. I hope the day will come when India is able to demand 100% advance on whatever we do. But the time is still far away. For small and trial orders, you do get that. But for bigger orders, no, there's no advance payment. One method which a lot of people go for is documentary collection method, because the buyer don't have to pay anything in advance in this method. So what they do, it is like they give you order, you supply the order. After the order is supplied, you send the document which I've talked about from your bank. You give it to your bank will send it to the buyer bank. The buyer bank will give it to the buyer only after he pays to the bank. Once he pays, he hand over the shipping documents. He will take the shipment. You will get the money. The consignment is complete. In the same documentary collection method, if you give some credit, again, the same thing will happen. You will send the document to your bank. Your bank will send it to the buyer bank. Buyer will give the document to the buyer only after getting a paper signed, which is called bill of exchange, based on the payment terms you have finalized. So he will say, like, I'm going to pay $40,000 after 60 days, and he put down the date. And that's his commitment to the bank, and he has to pay, and he will get the money. Now, one problem in this method is that you've not got any advance. You send the shipment, and the buyer says no for the shipment. what will you do? 3 correction which is required, very critical. I have learned it the hard way. Please note it down. Number 1, in this case, take a ECGC consignment insurance. You pay some money, but you get consignment insurance so that you can get 80 to 90% of the loss you make. Secondly, you also make the bank as the notified party, the buyer's bank as the notified party, so that there is some kind of focus on that bank as well. There is some liability for the bank as well. Thirdly, you also make sure that within 15 days, if the buyer has not taken your stuff, move the shipment from the shipping yard to a bonded warehouse. Why? Because shipping yards are very expensive. The damages are very expensive. If you have kept the material for a month or so, you will be paying a lot more money, sometimes more than even the actual amount. So make sure you move it to the bonded warehouse. 3 things, very critical. Another method, which is a very good method for us as sellers, is a letter of credit. Here again, it's bank to bank. The bank is payment done by the buyer bank to the seller bank. The responsibilities of buyers. Normally, what happens is, like, if somebody wants to open the LC, ask him which bank he's opening, check the credibility of the bank. Bank is okay, ask him to open the LC. When the LC comes to you, get it checked by the bank. Check all the details of the LC. Once the shipment is done, send all the papers as per the requirement of the LC. There is a section where he mentions the paper required. Send it by the same, and you will get the money based on the kind of LC you have done. Now, what are the type of LC? Irrevocable LC. LC which can't be changed, which can't be cancelled without your approval. Revocable LC which can be changed, which can be cancelled with or without your approval. Confirmed LC, where a buyer bank or a bank in India, a correspondent bank in India, is confirming that I am going to pay. Irrevocable confirmed LC, the best form of LC if you're giving some credit to the buyer. Here, they can't change it, they can't cancel it, and it's confirmed by a buyer bank in India. However, the best LC for you, if someone wants to, which kind of LC you want to work, is a payment at site LC. Because here, you do the shipment, you send the papers, within 7 days, you get the money. So if someone asks you, what LC you need, say payment at site LC. In case of credit LC, like irrevocable confirmed LC with 90, 120 days, after the LC paper is sent, you can actually do LC discounting and get the money from the bank as well with some interest rate. Now, the thumb rule is a good payment method is the one where the bank is dealing with the bank. It's not directly from you to the buyer. The next method is an open credit, where this work with big established company, long relationship for 5 years, trust between buyers and seller is very high. Document is sent to the buyer directly. It's a credit sale. I don't advise it to anyone, but still, if you're working with bigger companies, you can opt for it. And the last method we talk about is a consignment method, where you're selling your product with your brand name in other countries. Here, you work with a distributor or a country partner. I will strongly recommend to work with a country partner, ask him to invest 50%, and try to send documents to bank. Now, very critical for you to do complete 2-tier diligence, find out whether the buyer is right or not, and then choose the right method. And trust me, you will be safer and wiser, and the growth will be consistent. So let's see what we have learned today. We've learned how to define your products, shortlisting focus countries, branding and marketing ready, finding buyers and prospecting, export lead generation, and of course, we talked about how you convert the leads into sales strategy. And finally, we talked about how to have safe payment method. So I hope this is a good use of time. And let's talk something even more effective. What can be more effective than what we have discussed today? So I'll go back to Gagan and take it away, Gagan.
Sure. Thank you so much, Sandeep. We really feel that whatever we did and spoke in the past 1 hour and about 10 minutes was helpful for you. And I would really like to, before I actually take up the questions, would really like to see some comments on the chat box if this session was helpful for you. What I want to talk about that through these sessions, through these training programs, we have been making a lot of difference. And there are certain numbers we are proud of. 18,400 people we have already impacted. 520 plus businesses are export ready, with people who have got trained under us. And those people have done $12.5 million of business already internationally. And 40 plus countries, the business, the goods have been exported to. These are some of the numbers. And 90%, my dear friends, 90% of the people. Sandeep, what do you think this 90% signifies?
There's something which we are really proud of, that 90% of the people we have trained are already exporting. One country, two country, multiple countries, depending on where they started. But we are really, really happy about this, that this is absolutely great for us.
Thank you, Sandeep. So now I would like to briefly talk about some of the, we come up with our regular export growth program, which we are doing. We are already in our 18th batch. And I would wish to talk about an export growth program of 6 weeks we are running, and we're starting on this Saturday, every week for two hours from 6 to 8 p.m. Every Saturday for the next 6 weeks, starting this Saturday. What do we cover in this program? So we cover the following, by the way. Session 1 gets you into getting export ready, understanding global markets, and finding global buyers. Session number 2 talks about export documentation, legal requirements, subsidies, and all of these things around this. Once we go and have understood the whole importance of this, we go into session number 3, which is the role of marketing communication in exports. So we help you create your products, target segments, USPs, and a definitive strategy. Session number 4 is about understanding the channels of communication and how to reach maximum number of prospects. And in this, we talk about social media, email marketing, trade shows, and all that at depth, what we did today. We even give you models. We even give you clear templates, which you can use to build your websites, to build your brochures and templates as well. And after that, session number 5 is around your sales strategy and lead conversion strategy, along with session number 6, which is on project management, B2B, B2C, as well as what are the 3 levels of quality control, the pricing strategies, and all that stuff. Now, what are the key takeaways from the master classes which we do? Okay, we do complementary tools for data mining. Many of you asked, what are the tools and how can we do this data mining? We give you complementary tools. Up to 50 such tools are given to you. We've let you find your USP, branding templates for corporate profiles, websites and product portfolio, social media calendar template, document and legal compliance templates, negotiation and closing skills, e-commerce, B2B and B2C platforms, we tell you at depth, effective export deliveries, how do you really do that, shipping, shipment, and all the processes, sales growth technique for existing clients, and business plan for exports success. This is what all we do. We are already promoting this program for quite some time, and we are actually left with just 10 seats. This program is usually very unique for us, maximum or 15 to 20 people in the session, so that we can put a lot of emphasis on each one of them. So 12 hours of training plus 1 hour of consulting. After this, what we help you define your business plan. Excuse me. And then along with that, we also give you a monthly expert support, whereby every 3rd Friday you can reach out to us. Even after the training has finished, you can reach out to us, and we can help you with the inquiries, whatever you need to understand. And along with that, you also become a lifelong member of the Exporters Club, which is our alumni who are in one group where they have decided, and they're already doing good business, by the way, within the group itself, where people are fulfilling and helping each other, others' needs. All of these, I would say, are, if I were to put it in money, are about 55,000 worth of services. But of course, this is not what we're saying that we charge. Our main work is consulting, whereby we work with people on consulting. This is an our effort to help the startups really scale up their exports. Otherwise, the offer price on our website, if you will see winningmantra.in, you'll see an offer price of 7,999 plus GST. But today, for all of you who are especially there in this particular webinar, we are offering a special price of 6,999 plus GST, which comes out to be 8,259. But this is only available as a package for you for about 30 minutes. And what we are going to do is, in our group, which has been created, and we are going to put a link for the payment, and we will put the link here as well, by the way, in the chat box. Any of you, it's a Razor Pay link. In case you are interested to join the program, which is starting on this particular Saturday, you are most welcome. And by the way, many of you think that what will happen if I'm not able to attend the class? We record each and every session, and this recording is given to you. Those recordings are available to you on YouTube, only dedicated to you. You will not be able to share it with anybody, but you will be able to see it for the lifetime. As long as you have your email ID, you will be able to see that recording from your email logged into YouTube. So this is what our entire program is. And of course, with this, I would like to open it up for question and answers. I would now like to unshare my screen. And now at this point, you can open up your mic, ask a question if you have. We're more than welcome. Please go ahead.